Episode 309. Last episode of our quote-unquote flashback of Komoi's days in the Rogues Guild. At least it should be the last episode if we manage to finish up a level 20 quest, a level 25 quest, and a level 30 quest. Hopefully that's enough, there's enough time in the episode to do all three of those. It might actually be more than 3 quests if we have like 2 quests for level 20 or 2 quests for level 25. Sometimes I do that. Been practicing your dance steps, Komoi, because we're about ready to run rings around Captain Malala and her squads. The Yellowjackets have been pressing their investigation into the treasures, what was cloyed from that maelstrom tub, but, as you know, we've got our own network at coves. I'm not sure if it's coves or coves or... We don't miss the goings-on about town. And for the sharp end of the job, it'll be you, me, Underfoot, and the Stray. Let's get down to business, eh? Nkebe's late to the feast, so I'll just make sure we're all on the same page for now. When you get down to it, we have 2 goals for this job. Bite back them 3 treasures, and mail the coves what cloyed them in the first place. You can be sure that the Yellowjacket shrew will be doing her damnedest to beat us to the marks. And seeing as the fate of the guild is at stake, we'd best not drag our due beaters on this one. It's every sentence. I say we grapple them baubles before she's even lifted anchor, and give her a proper reason to rage against us rogues. You seem awfully keen on this contest all of a sudden, Jack. Well, here's the thing. I sent me a grievance to the Dallasacracy. This is hard enough without the longer words already. To the Dallasacracy regarding the Shrew's challenge, but them paper shufflers don't care a whit as long as one of us gets the job done. So I figured I'd sail with the wind rather than against it. Besides, we wouldn't want to shirk our duties and force poor Captain Malala to blunder about in the scary Darkmans, now would we? How very gentlemanly of you. Well, them's the cards, what we've been dealt, ain't they? Now stir your quips, and let's hear what you learned about the bloody treasures already. Aye, the treasures. According to the manifest of that maelstrom vessel, we're looking to bite back the Cerulean Star, Silver Sorrows, and something called the Black Sarcophagus. Aside from the fancy names, I was able to whittle a few more details. Whittle, I've learned that means learned. I've whittled what whittle means. The Cerulean Star, for starters, is a big old blue diamond which shines like a star, I suppose. Then we've got the Silver Sorrows, a pair of earrings, what once graced the wattles... Okay, that's wattles, not whittles. The wattles of a Sultana of Ul'dah. There's a tale there, but one what don't concern us at present. Lastly, this Black Sarcophagus thing. I'm afraid that one remained a mystery no matter how much I poked and prodded. In any case, all 3 of these trinkets was recorded as spoils from official privateering raids. Now, as you know, a pirate will usually sell his plunder through a reliable fence. Sometimes, though, holding an auction is the only way to offload goods what is too extravagant, or just too bleeding rare for the average cult to deal in. Our 3 wondrous treasures fell into the auction-only category. When the bidding began in Aleport, the Dallasacracy weighed in with its ample purse, made some unmatchable offers, and organized a tub for the merchandise to be shipped back to Limsa. And that's when our marks swooped in and picked their transport clean. I had a few words with them maelstrom sailors that survived the attack, and they pointed the finger at the grinning curs. Problem is, not one cull's seen hide or hair of the curs, not to mention their bloody ship since the raid. Late to the meeting, better be a good reason. Sorry I'm late, Jack, but you'll want to hear this. Some of the cargo what was cloyed from that transport was just found during a routine inspection at the Latagran checkpoint. Latagran? How'd the curs meet that for, then? And what are the treasures? Any mention of them? Not that I've heard, but the jackets ain't done shaking out all the boxes yet. And we'd better get eyes out there quick like. Komoi, Underfoot, you're fresh for a run, ain't ya? Come on, lass. I'll race you to the checkpoint. Okay, but before we do though, I don't know. It's a bit late to be doing this. I should have done it 1 episode ago or even 2 episodes ago. But every time I see us lined up with these other guys, I can't help but feel like I should be doing this, right? Let's see. What shade of green should it be? What shade of green do they have? Is it hunter green? No, that's not it. Not the other one. Oh, we can't dye the scarf without dyeing the rest of the outfit anyway. Well, in that case, I guess I don't feel too bad about it. I mean, we could just like wear all green like they are, and hunter green does seem to be just about the right shade. I mean, the lighting in the room maybe changes things a little bit. But it does appear to be hunter green. I guess it's fitting considering our occupation. Do I want to wear that? If it was just a scarf, I'd be fine with it. What if we, like, swap this around? I guess they do sometimes wear... I mean, she's wearing red and green, so that kind of fits. Okay, if it's over in the market, then I guess we can do that. We can just pretend like we've always been pretending that maybe we were given the green uniform as soon as we joined, even though the last 2 episodes I wasn't wearing it whatsoever. Just for this last episode, maybe. But only if it's in the market. Should be dyemonger. There you are. Sometimes it's not like a dyemonger, it's someone else that sells the dyes. You got hunter green? They don't have hunter green. It's probably from one of the societies that you unlock their shops from, but... And even though I probably have it unlocked, I'm not going to go out of my way to find this green dye. Well, that's fine. It would make sense for the flashback anyway, if we had the green clothes and then at the beginning of the game, we ride into Oldal with the normal colored clothes. I've already got enough strikes against myself with this not being a flashbacker. Too many reasons why this couldn't possibly be a flashback, but still. We're still pretending, and this is one thing we're not going to have to do. We're not going to have to worry about why Komoi's clothes change colors between the flashback and the start of the game. But I'm sure if I really had to, I could spin a reason. I won our race. Yeah, but only because I stopped by the market. You owe me a pint, Komoi. And japes aside. Japes aside, though, it looks like Vicari was right about the cargo. From what I've been able to catch from them swans at the gate. Don't you mean, turtle? No, what was the word? Damn, I forgot. I'm gonna forget this all after this episode anyway. Was it chattel? Waddle? Whatever. It seems a peddler was boned for carrying goods, what was known to be aboard the transport. They carted the poor sod away in chains, but the cargo itself is still here. I saw a pair of jackets carrying boxes up that wooden ramp. We need to know what's in them crates. I get the feeling they won't open their gans for the Eskin, though. Not while this fool's challenge is going on. Do you think you could skulk over there and see if you found them treasures yet? Or see if they found them? A couple of Yellowjackets are rifling through the cargo up that ramp there, sneaking as close as you dare. And Whittle, okay, it was Whittle. Whittle, what's become of them baubles? I'm still gonna forget that after this episode. But what if I get spotted? 2 Yellowjacket soldiers are inspecting the sea's cargo. Approach them while cloaked by your hide ability, but attempt to listen in on their progress. I will do that. After this. That's far enough. We can't be having any unauthorized persons interfering with our official investigations. And move along. Okay. And around the corner, even though we don't have to. And we're back. Get out of here, you. You're not supposed to be in the flashback anyway. No, wait, it's this one. Had my chocobo out for doing the hunting log. That's what I did to get most of my levels as a rogue. Hunting log actually got me up to like level 45 basically. I just did leveling roulette. The Yellowjackets are discussing the contents of the crates. This is all junk. No diamonds, no earrings, and no bloody black sarcophagus. Looks like we'll have to lean hard on that skinny peddler if we're to find them treasures. The sergeant says the merchant, still pleading ignorance, claims he was hired to carry the goods through the checkpoint and not else. What a pile of pugil shite. I think it's actually pugil. Whatever. I'm guessing the pirates have split the cargo and are trying to look at every checkpoint. Captain Malala has already given orders to double the guard and inspect every cart and wagon that comes through. I was listening. Are you impressed? We can't be having any unauthorized persons interfere in etc. etc. What about you? Curious about what's in the boxes, are you? Why don't you go and be curious from way over there and let us do our jobs? Are you impressed? Please be impressed. We need validation. So they found not a value, eh? Ben. Though we'd lost the contest before we'd even properly started. Or thought we lost. But be that as it may, something to note down up here. Why would you order a cult to carry the goods through the checkpoint? No smuggler is that daft, surely. And even if by some miracle of the gods he squirmed through the Tagrin without raising a fuss, why would you risk taking any merchandise back to the city which you coined it from? Now there's a bigger picture here, and we need to take a step back to see it. Assuming the Curs hired this peddler to do their dirty work, there'll be someone in the shadows that's brokered the deal. And I just happen to know a cove, whatever. What makes its business to oversee these kinds of shady arrangements. The thing is, this black marketeer bloke changes his haunts depending on how the breeze blows. Quite literally, in fact. I seem to recall the navigator's veil being shifted by a westerly this morning, so that put him... Tiller's Rest. Nice and close. Why don't we go and ask him a few questions before we head back to the guild? I'm not going to have to worry about how to pronounce all these words after this episode. At least I'm pretty sure. I don't think the rogues are going to appear in the ninja questline. Even though that might be kind of a shame, I kind of like these guys. But usually with these advancements, like from Lancer to Dragoon, for example, and from Rogue to Ninja, or whatever other classes advance into jobs, I'm pretty sure none of the up to level 30 guys really appear in the job things. I pride myself on my memory for faces, but yours is unknown to me. Are you an earnest customer or an inquisitive annoyance? I must be sure of your intentions. Oh. Thought he fixed some guys on us or something. Okay, was that just like a random attack or what? The dance is old, but the name is new. Put away your daggers, rogue. I've peddled my wares to your kind since the upright thieves stalked the night. Speak. What do you have with this humble merchant? Okay, I guess it was a random attack and he just recognizes the dagger play. Still tormenting the cults, eh, Granddad? Oh, is that his actual granddad? We've come for information on the smuggling job. There's this peddler that was caught at the Latagran checkpoint moving merchandise for the Grinning Curse. Pleaded innocence even when he had the screws put to him. You wouldn't know aught about that deal, would you? Every last sordid detail. Not a single grain of stolen sand passes through the shadows without my knowledge. But such prickly wisdom lodges tightly in one's throat. What have you brought to ease the pain of its passage? Spare me the theatrics, Granddad. He's your usual purse. The sum is paid. The deal is made. May my answer sate your fickle hunger. Your hapless peddler was indeed innocent. He was but a beast of burden employed by associates of the Grinning Curse, and likely knew not of his freight's tainted nature. A pawn, if you will, a convenient decoy, There are those amongst my acquaintances who specialize in providing such services. Aye, that's what I thought. The Curs wanted the cult to get caught. And now the Jackets have had a taste. They'll waste their time yapping every shite pie what comes through their tech points. Meanwhile, the real treasures are hidden away in the Darkmins, along with the grinning Curs. Not the Darkmins, Master Rogue. The Mist. Okay, what's the Darkmins then? If it's not, like... I guess it's the shadows or night, I'm assuming. But does that mutually exclude the Mist? Aside from the traveling merchant, the Curs associates have spent coin on another piece for this little game. A navigator, one who's practiced in piloting a vessel through the Doxus's pull. Oh, the Mist as in the ocean. I'm not sure if that necessarily excludes it being hidden by night or whatever. Maybe Darkmins doesn't mean night. The Doxus? Or the Doxies? The Doxies? The gods only know how many ships have sailed into that fog soup, and never come out again. And that's where you say the Curs have gone to ground? Now that's a trick what took some bollocks. Once their haunted tub was sitting dimmer in the mist, though, it would have been easy to have these associates of theirs ferry the junk goods to the Nocia. Then the canny coves just needed to wait for the peddler to get boned, and draw the glazes of the Yellowjackets inland. We need to strike now. As soon as they learn the coast is clear, they'll flee for open waters. A fair appraisal of events. Now that you know the location of your marks, however, it will not be so difficult to track them down. The Doxy's pull was once an impenetrable shroud, but ever since the Calamity, the mists are far less constant. Well, okay, no, this is actually still fine for pretending this is a flashback. We were pretending that this was after the Calamity, when Komor was forced out of Uldal for whatever reason, but before the start of the game, so that 5-year time span, so this is still good. Not another strike against the flashback, even though there are so many already. Narrow your search to the heaviest banks, and you will soon uncover those who wish to remain unseen. But now, a warning. The mists conceal other dangers besides the dogs you seek. A careless step may land you upon the chopping block. The chopping block? You can't mean... Seems I've found myself another lead to look into. You hurry on back to Jack and tell him what we've learned so far. I hope we might do business again, young rogue. Pray be mindful not to, lose your head in the course of your duty. I'm not sure what this chopping block business is all about. Hunter Green. Where do you get that? Oh, there we go. You've never heard of the Grinning Curs? They're a pack of rabid buccaneers what used to belong to the Salthounds. Back in the day, the Salthounds had the crew to fill more than a few ships. There was no other pirate gang what could match them when it came to sheer numbers. When the Admiral came to power and passed her famous law, most of the Hounds chose a life on land. And those who had spat on the law became the Curs. Simple as that. About time, lass. You was gone so long I almost sent the stray after you. What happened to Underfoot? So our marks and their biting baubles are snug inside the Doxy's pull, eh? I'll not discount the old man's warning, but we may not have a better chance. Wow. It's like taking Ben and adding some conjugation to it. A better chance. Weird. A better chance to crash the Curs and grab all them treasures. We board their ship right now. You, me, and Vikebe. I suppose we'll be needing ourselves a tub for the voyage. I'll have Wids and Swarsend. I'll have Wids with Swarsend. That's words. and see what the dry docks can spare us by way of a ship and a reliable crew. Get your kit together and meet us there. Where are we meeting? I forgot already. More B dry docks. Okay, so we can teleport. When you said dry docks, I thought it would be in the, well, in the town. The city. We also do not have this umbrella in the flashback. We don't have any items in the flashback. We shouldn't anyway. I mean, it's just an umbrella, who cares? Alright, come away. I pulled in some favors and there's a crew what'll get us close enough to scamper aboard the crew's vessel. It'll be cramped up on that deck. If we try to mill a whole lot at once, we'll soon find ourselves up against the rails. So we go in quick and quiet, and try to knock them off a few at a time. Well, Les, are you eager to test your sea legs? Sure. Cool to have an instance on a boat like this. They're just repurposing the same boat that they have for, like, a bunch of different things, but it's always nice when there's, like, technically an area that isn't in any part of the game. Right, no one's seen us so far. Let's get to work. I'll sink me stabbers and the captain. The two back there are yours. Follow me, Komori. These two? Okay, and I'll get this one. Can't get the positional here. Oh, there we go. Got him. Oh, Jack's engaged. Sneak attack. Another sneak attack. Sneak stun. Didn't need it. Well, that was fast. Oh wait, that's the captain. Okay, I thought that guy was the captain. Jack will be fine. The only positional we have is a sneak attack, so we don't really have to worry about that right now. At least until we get the third part of the combo. The Growler? What gauge where? Oh no, not the Growler. Knife throw. Stun. I guess the only thing we really have to worry about is making sure we don't let the enemies do full DPS on our teammates, because if one of them dies, we probably lose. And so far, Jack's the closest to dying, so I don't think, oh wait, she can do healing, never mind. Kind of weird for a rogue to do, but okay. Jack, I found me one of them treasures. Unless there's another fist-sized blue diamond on board, it's gotta be the cerulean star. As for them other two baubles, I've tossed the cabins and been through the whole them ilm by ilm, but there's naught else here. Well, we'll just have to ask all sweet like, won't we? Spit it out, Kerr. Where are you keeping the rest of your treasures? Huh, you think I'd spill me guts for the like of you, rogue? Maybe you wouldn't at that. But what about this partner you're working with? How do you don't need no partner. So you're telling me this was all your own idea? You woke up one day and decided you'd attack a maelstrom transport right off the coast of Ailport, then disappear into the love and embrace of the Doxy's Pool? Not exactly your style, is it? The grinning curs are too bleeding famous for being the crew what turned their snouts up at privateering in favor of keeping to the old ways. You've only escaped the Yellowjackets' grip this long by crawling on your bellies and snatching scraps what fell from the table. You ain't the type to sink your teeth into a Navy-owned vessel, no matter the price. Aye, well, maybe there ain't no profit in being cautious no more. The age of pirates is swift coming to an end. Well, it won't be stopped, not by a piddling-mill crew like mine. That's why we've thrown our lot in with the executioners. I didn't think the bloody executioners would be involved in this plot. Because they're like main story guys, pretty much. That blue rock was just our share of the loot. The scraps from the table, like you said. If you wanted them other trinkets, then you have to take it up with our new mates. One job at a time, lass. First we need to get these stinking cows and their tub back to the docks. Okay, tub means boat. I guess that makes sense, I didn't really put two and two together. Piss on you for taking our ship. Should have set her on fire while I still had the chance. The job just got proper thorny, but at least we've grabbled one of them damn treasures. Grabbled means got. Pretty much. Putting aside the issue of who gave the orders, there's no doubt that these was the coves what has raided that maelstrom ship. Now for a punishment what fits the crime. I was informed that a certain well-known pirate ship was spotted weighing anchor at the Morby dry docks. I assume this was your work. Ah, you missed all the excitement, Captain. But never you mind. The Cerulean Star is back and Bob in our Back and Bob in our sneaky little fambles. And these must be the grinning curs. Not grinning now. Degenerate fiends, how dare you ply your filthy trade in the Mincin waters? How many innocent sailors, were massacred that you might sate your vile avarice? Every one of your kind ought to be lined up and shot. A musket ball is the only answer for this rampant display of lawlessness. Wait. Do you mean to just execute them here, on the bloody docks? At least take the buggers into custody first. Didn't we, not like 2 missions ago, execute all of those, not the dandies, the other guys, the jolly guys? Whatever. Handing them over to you for lawful punishment will satisfy the demands of the code just as well. We've already got the answers to our questions, so feel free to take them away. Do not presume to give me orders, rogue. You only managed to capture these villains and their ill-gotten treasure by employing unsavory and unconscionable means. Why, you're not more than pirates yourselves. These bastards ain't worth a true pirate's spit. The Upright Thieves was formed to protect us from ourselves. Now they're just hunting dogs for the Admiral. Mulweb yanks the leash and another buccaneer disappears. You rogues are traitors to your own kind, if it hadn't been for you. Aye, go on then. Blame me and me co's for your own failures. You know what you was about when you defined the code. You knew that we'd be after you. We're done here. There are still 2 treasures left, rogue, and I mean to claim them both. I'd reconsider this contest of yours, Captain. Turns out this fish we're trying to hook is a shark, and it might just swallow you whole. The composition of this scene is actually pretty good. Like with him in the background there and it raining and him looking back, and it's also, I guess, nighttime. It just was inadvertently good somehow. I guess sometimes nighttime is good for cutscenes. What shark is he speaking of? And how could any pirate challenge them out of the Yellowjackets? No, he seeks but to unnerve me, having the truth from these grinning curs, and we'll see who trumps over whom. You think this is over? The pirates will have their day again. I do think the mission is over. It has been a rather long one. I called this the last episode of the flashback. It seems like we're gonna need another one after all. Okay, let me in though. Men work on that ship, Komoy. First blood is ours. How'd you take to fight in the sea? There are few as can drop an opponent as quick as a rogue. But mind you don't exhaust yourself just flaring your blades at the tougher cover, or tougher coves. And that goes double for when you've mates on your flanks. If you notice yourself starting to flag, there's not wrong with pulling back from time to time and staggering your attacks with each other to keep the pressure on. Funny he was saying that he was the one tanking all the attacks there. We were actually worried about his health. I said it before this, but I'll need you sharp enough to carve steel for what's to come. To carve steel? That's an idiom, but at least it's easy to pronounce. I'm afraid this will be more of a challenge than even what that little shrew was bargaining for. That's assuming the curs wasn't lying about the executioners. And the executioners are who I bloody think they are. Tricks you and me, though. I'm hoping the name is just some laughable coincidence. Oh there, Komoy. We've a rough job ahead of us, and that's a fact. Matters are tangled enough with that Malala Mort. What is Mort? I guess it's an insult. Whatever. Snapping at our heels. But we still managed to grapple the first trinket without too much fuss. Biting back at them other two treasures, though, that'll be a different story. Once the stray gets here, I'll explain what, or more to the point who, we're up against. Alright. We have two baubles left on the list. The Silver Sorrows, and the Black Sarcophagus. Let's see what we're at here. Oi, where's Primo got to? Underfoot, he's still looking to whittle the tail of that bleeding sarcophagus. We'll not be cloying to that stickler until we've at least an inkling as to what the bloody thing looks like. I mean, it's called the Black Sarcophagus. Is it literally like a sarcophagus? Well, I guess the other two things were... they're accessories. One was a diamond, which I guess isn't an accessory, but it could be, like in a brooch or something. And the other one, this one now, is earrings. It's probably like some kind of treasure you can carry in your hands if it's like these other two. Treasures aside, I've been doing some digging on my own into these executioner allies of the Grinning Curs, and I'm afraid the name weren't no coincidence. Komoy, you've heard of the bloody executioners, I hope. Have we heard of them like through the main story yet? I know specific points in the future pirate politics like of the main story, since that does remain relevant even in later expansions. I remember how they get involved later, but I don't remember if they were involved in any point in the main story up until now. So it's surprising that they're getting like development here in this side story, because that might like contradict with major plot stuff depending on where you are. In which case you would actually have to pretend that this is a flashback if it contradicts later plot stuff. But only if you did it later. Anyway. It seems some curse was feeding from the fambul of one of the nation's greater pirate powers. This ain't no ordinary crew of cutthroats, lass. Within them Solominsa, the bloody executioners wield a power and influence second only to the Admiral herself. They was none too fond of Merleweb, or her prohibition on piracy. And it was only the overwhelming threat posed by the Guardian Empire would actually convince them to play nice with such Dalsacracy. The pirates ain't one to play nice for long. Now that Hillfair ain't around to around to helm the ship. Right, Hillfear. The solid area of the bloody executioners had begun to show cracks. Did we interact with the bloody executioners during... I'm pretty sure we did it as Komori. Was it an event quest or like a different job quest? All the strongest captains and lieutenants have begun to form their own factions, and are scrabbling to claim the top tier for themselves. Of course, not one bloody cove can agree with another on which way the executioners ought to sail. Among these new factions, though, is a group what is pushing to break free of the Admiral's grip completely. Turns out these reformists, as they call themselves, was the ones as took the good Encoders under their wing. Which means they've got possession of the last two treasures we've yet to cloy. Rumors around town say that, even for the executioners, these coves are bloody, and ruthless, and not to be crossed. We should sit this one out, Jack. Piss on a lawless contest. It ain't worth this kind of grief. We've been inviting the rest of a crew so large and dangerous that even the Admiral ain't keen on coming to blows with them, if they ever came after us. Large or small, it don't matter much. They broke the code when they hit that maelstrom tub. Now, the good Encoders are paying for that crime, but we'd be poor sodden excuses for rogues if we let the real culprits carry on unpunished. I mean to see this job to the end, and that means putting back them treasures, and handing out proper justice to them as deserve it. But Jack, listen, with all the infighting going on at present, us stabbing a short blade into one faction's toe ain't like to bring the whole executioner crew down on our heads. Besides, them reformist buggers are so far split from the main mob that they've been avoiding the city altogether. Now it's about time we got to work. Komori, here to track down our black market contact. And I set him to looking into the Kerr's new allies a while back, so he should have some answers for us by now. The veil was lifted by a southerly this morn. That'll put the old man at his haunt in Lower Lenosia. Here, take the sack of blunt, and pay a visit to the House of Sticks. That's Kobold territory, if you didn't know. The old man bribes them with ore, and hires the biggest and meanest sons as bodyguards. Just be ready for your approach to be challenged. I know full sod and well what it means to be a rogue, but as deadly as our guild is, we don't survive a war with the bloody executioners. Okay, and that's it. Where was that again? Over here, okay. Fastest would be this way, I guess. It's kind of crazy, there's only this one 8th right over there. Well, I guess we could also, like, teleport to the mist. We could have done that. That might have been faster. Oh, we're here now. I guess I'm gonna have to come up with an excuse for why Komori didn't use any of this rogue stuff up until, like, the quote-unquote present time in Stormblood. I'm sure I can come up with some reason. Maybe she just likes magic that much more. Maybe magic feels like it's cheating, and she likes the feeling of cheating against her opponents. Whereas using the daggers, at least with everything that Jack is teaching us, it's more honest, more honorable, the way that they do things. As funny as that is for a rogue. Honor among thieves and everything. Why do you come to these places? He was, like, attacked in the last place, too. I guess he comes here because no one else comes here for that exact reason. Welcome to the House of Sticks, young rogue. You must excuse my harling's enthusiasm for greeting visitors. Oh, he does hire them, okay. So those guys that dumped us were actually his guys. We didn't kill them, right? That'd be weird. Now, have you any cumbersome baggage of which I might relieve you before we begin our conversation in earnest? Yeah, a heavy burden for one of your tender years to bear, but its weight has balanced the scales. Okay, I'm glad you said tender years. That's like a strike for this being a flashback. There are so many strikes against it, but this is like the first strike for it. The sum is paid, and the deal is made. Let us speak of these reformists. A faction that so wronged the code now seeks to peddle one of its stolen treasures, the earrings better known as the Silver Sorrows. The deal, it is said, is set to take place at Costa del Sol. The buyer, a moneyed merchant from the golden sands of Uldar. The earrings will be out in the open, vulnerable. I would target the moment of transaction, were I so inclined. As the gentleman up there by the cabin appears to be, free purchase the self-same information. Oh, that guy's not just like here as part of the world. He's actually part of the cutscene, or this quest. Though he attempts to disguise his identity, the stench of a soldier yet lingers. I know not where one such as he came to learn of my existence, but I suspect he works for a certain yellow-coated captain. Brave she is, but foolish. Stumble blindly into the underworld, and your groping hands will not save you from the holes at your feet. Sudden shall be her fall. The reformers will soon divest themselves of the Silver Sorrows, or not dally if you wish to stay ahead of your rivals. Okay, let's not dally. I'm trying to gauge if there's enough time in this episode to do the last quest. I guess it depends on how quickly this quest goes. The first quest we did this episode was about 30 minutes, so this one might also be 30 minutes. Welcome back, Omoy. What information did the old man have on them reformists? Looking to unload their earrings, are they? And to an Uldan, no less. Can't say I'm surprised to hear the buyers from out of town. You won't find many laminces willing to melt coin on aught them cubs are selling. Only the daftest of sods would go about funding them as means to pull down the admiral. Eh? One of Malala's lackeys arrived at the house before you. How'd they know to... Bah. Them curs we captured must have cackled during the Shrew's interrogations. We'll have to assume the Yellowjackets know what we know, and that means we best get our arses to Costa del Sol right pleated now. I'll handle this one, Jack. You and Comoy can wait here for Perimo. Oh wait, Rikebe. When the hell's is she playing at? After her, lass. She knows this ain't a solo job. I was actually using the walking time to look it up. It seems like on the wiki there's going to be 2 level 30 quests, and only one of these level 25 quests, the one we're doing right now. So this does take like the full remaining hour, like the remaining time in the hour for this episode. I guess we can do the 2 level 30 quests in the next episode. Very long flashback. I told you to wait at the guild. I don't need... Well... It might just be I could use an extra Mort in the shadows after all. Okay, wait. I thought Mort was negative connotation. If she's calling us a Mort, then she's either being very rude or Mort doesn't mean what I think it means. Probably the latter. Jack has his mind set on punishing the executioners, but me? I just want to skulk in, color them silver bits, and skulk out. I reckon that if I could manage that with no one the wiser, then they wouldn't know who to come after. Finish the job without drawing me daggers, you know? It ain't exactly true to the code, but the Shield of the Underworld Honor, or Shield of Underworld Honor, won't stop them bloody killers from cutting me mates' throats, and sending the Sisters a glimmer, or setting the Sisters a glimmer. The Guild's the only place would offer to take in a pirate stray like me, and I'll not see it burn to the ground. The deal's about to start. Say the word when you're bent to head in. We're bent to head in, okay. Oh wait, it wasn't done there. Alright, here's what we know. The rich merchant what's come over from Ul'dah is some old mate of Master Gegaruju. They call his own Costa del Sol. Gegaruju's taking his guards and dancing dells? Girls? Whatever. His guards and dancing dells and tranced off down the beach someplace, giving over the use of the entire resort to his friend. Seems she didn't want an audience for a bargain with a reformist. Which, as it happens, works out well for us. We'll wait until they're all the weird words that are in the rogue's lingo has got me looking at normal words all weird. We'll wait until they're busy haggling over the price, then snatch the sorrows and hop over the twig before they realize what's amiss. Sound like a plan? Yeah. There, the players have arrived. The reformist coin counter and the Ul'dah buyer are setting up on the southeast platform. The earrings ought to be nearby. Hang about. Where are all these other calls? The place was meant to be empty. I see some nasty-looking blokes in Ul'dah garb, and... Are those mammoths? Nah, that merchant's brought along a whole bloody entourage. I've gone and got ahead of myself. I should have realized the job would never be that easy. We'll have to mill a few of them bodyguards first, I reckon. You don't want to fight through a forest of blades should you get caught sneaking about up on them narrow walkways. Jack, I thought I'd... Stow your excuses off. I know full well what you're about. You start going soft on us, though, and it'll be like losing one of me arms. I can't take on the bloody executioners all by myself. It's only because I've got rogues like you and Underfoot and Comoy here that the guild can take the jobs it does. When our cubs walk the shadows, it's the bleeding pirates would do the trembling. Remember that, Rikebe. We ain't some two-guild robbers would piss their breeches when their daddles get caught in the honeypot, or the knives and the darkmans, and no bastard wants to go blade to blade with the likes of us. I see you've not changed your mind then. You'll need all the stabbers you can get. And I promise mine'll be there when you need them. Then, now let's carve a path to that platform, and bite back them earrings. Rikebe, you hide yourself down by the docks, in case the marks escape during the fighting. Comoy, you and me'll split up, and mill the guards as we go. It's them puppets that concern me most. I suggest you crash them, little buggers, before they can spring any rum fun. Creep in close as you dare, then give them a good, solid clap from behind. Aye, it ain't the most original strategy, but that don't make it any less lethal. Once you're done with the first group, step back into the shadows and move on to the next. Not to it, eh? I'll head over to the back, while you start from the front. Let's wrap this up before them jackets blunder in and scare off our marks. Alright, priority target, the mammoth. Got it. I guess they want you to use the one backstab ability. And also maybe mug. Whatever. It's not exactly like facing the right way though. Do we care? Whatever. Oh, I'm still alive. And back to the shadows. Well, we can at least use this to get the positional, or other things on cooldown. You want us to help, huh? I'll be there in a sec. We got the positional, because he was casting his other thing. Okay, we're coming down. And we'll do it with a backstab. Now for the mirrors. Is he following us, or is he just like going on his own? And again, we don't have the backstab. But that's fine. I guess we could wait. I think Jack's just gonna aggro them. Or wait. Maybe let's wait and see what Jack does. Maybe he'll do a backstab? Or not. I guess he is following us. Okay. Yeah. Well, we waited this long. Do the fancy backstab. I do the stun to get the positional. That's like the one thing that I can do with my limited tools. Rogues? No one mentioned aught about rogues. What in the hells do you think you're doing? I'm conducting business transaction on behalf of the bloody executioners. Do you understand what that means? Do you know what they'll do to you? Aye, I'm all affrighted. Odd then, that you're the one who's shaken. It don't matter to me who you work for. Your bosses broke the code, and we're here to collect. Those would be the silver sorrows, then. I'm sure you paid a caravan a coin for them shiny baubles, but I doubt they're worth your life. Let's have them, then. Wait, damn you. You should know that this personage is an extremely influential member of the East Alternate Trading Company. Surely you've heard of it. We have. Was that Gegaruju? I think it was actually... No, not Gegaruju. Gegaruju is the guy that owns this place. We're thinking of Lolorito, which is actually relevant in the present time, but we'll get to that. If the threat of reprisal will not stay your hand, then consider the political ramifications of interfering with a foreign dignitary. The Admiral would not desire you to damage Alimsa's relations with Ul'dah. Yes, exactly. I am very highly placed in Ul'dah society. I have powerful friends who would not be pleased were you to mistreat me in any fashion. I think this just makes Komoy even more mad, considering she was displaced from her own home, in this flashback. And you must understand, the Silver Sorrows are a historical treasure, a gift once bestowed upon Sultana Nanashu, Olasha, by her champion. The earrings were later stolen from the royal vault, and we lost hope of ever recovering them. That I might so easily purchase them, thus, is a miracle. The return of these trinkets will be... that is to say, the sorrows must be returned to Ul'dah. Can you not look the other way for the sake of my nation's pride? I think that just makes Komoy hate her plea even more. She grew up on Pearl Lane. She doesn't know any about that fancy folk stuff. If anything, she wants to stick it to all the rich people who think they're better than her. You think me some dull-witted dog? If this deal was being made on behalf of your country, then why are you sneaking about and consorting with pirates? An excellent point. One might doubt your quality of character were you to continue with these feeble fabrications. Okay, it was her. I was actually wondering. You need only entrust those earrings to me. Should you truly wish to see them returned to Ul'dah, that is. After all, 'twas to fulfill that very purpose that the Thalassacracy bid on the sorrows in the first place. Bit late there, aren't you, Captain? I think you'll agree that this round belongs to us. On the contrary, my dear scoundrel, I made the winning move the moment I knew we were dealing with a merchant of Voldar. I come bearing an official order of seizure, authorized by the Admiral herself. You'll not be harmed, but I must insist that you cooperate with this reclamation of unlawfully obtained goods. Though Costa del Sol is private property, it nevertheless lies within state-governed territory. Come along quietly, and we need not inconvenience Master Gegaruju any further. These suspects will be taken into Yellowjacket custody, and do not concern yourselves with the Silver Sorrows. They'll be quite safe with me. We did all that work and she wins the round. Kind of knew it'd go this route though. I mean, there's like 3 treasures, and for it to be like a close race, we had to win one and they had to win one. So now it's down to the last one. I heard the news from Jack. I don't think that was the Admiral choosing to side with Malala though. Probably just eager to reclaim the Silver Sorrows. Anyway, that bit about them earrings being stolen from the Royal Vault turns out to be true. Seems some famous burglar went after him once he heard about the godlike agility that was said to bestow upon the wearer, or they were said. Bah, the hell's take that canary-colored harpy. We might as well have handed the things to her on a velvet cushion. I'll go find Underfoot and help him with his digging. There's still that last treasure out there, and you can be sure the reformists won't be giving it up without a fight. Nah, you do that. Men luck to you, love. Ah, and there you are. You left before events had truly been decided, and I thought you deserved to know the score. The Yildan merchant has acquiesced to our request and surrendered the Silver Sorrows into our keeping. We also apprehended the reformist accountant, and will be holding him for further questioning. Oh, Bonin, an associate of the Bloody Executioners. Bonin? Bonding? Bonin. You Yellowjackets don't flinch from your duty, I'll give you that. And what's this I hear about your buying information, Captain? I thought you'd sooner die than associate with elements of the underworld. I will do what I must to stay ahead in this challenge, and that Marketeer's knowledge was vital to the case. 'Tis true I might find his practices distasteful, but he is no pirate. Okay, now you're splitting hairs. It is the fading era of piracy, which I mean to consign to the history books, and that chapter will never be fully closed, until every pirate's bond relic, including you and your guild, becomes a thing of the past. Valiant and forthright, these are the words by which the Yellowjackets live. It is the manner in which we protect Limsa. I swore an oath on these, on the graves of my sisters. No more shall the innocent suffer at the hands of these savage buccaneers, these unrepentant killers. And a grand oath it is. Me, I've got me fambles full just keeping the code intact. But the code is a kind of oath too, when you get down to it, and since I've sworn to uphold it, I have no intention of stepping aside and letting you trample all over me or me cause. In fact, you'd be better off giving in now before matters get proper serious. Just say you're sorry, admit defeat, and we'll leave it at that, eh? Your audacity knows no bounds. I am done wasting words. I shall reclaim that last treasure, and then I will look on victorious, as your guild is dismantled brick by brick. That's the spirit, Captain. Just don't forget to keep an eye on them earrings. The city's crawling with rogues, you know. You could keep the Sorrows in a bloody lockbox in the Coral Tower, but look away for a moment and one of me co's will bite them beauties right back. Isn't that like against our code? Come on, Convoy. It's back to the sisters for us. And as expected, pretty much right on the hour, we're completing the quest. It was actually timed almost perfectly, 30 minutes per quest. Which maybe means the 2 quests that are at level 30 will also be 30 minutes. I can only hope. I can only hope that it naturally, nicely ties up within the episode. Although I guess the last 2 episodes went on long because cutscenes lasted longer than the hour. You got like a 10-minute cutscene from me? Well, after all that hard work, the shoe made off with the spoils. And as far as her damn contest goes, I suppose that makes us even. It'll be the last treasure, this black sarcophagus, that decides the victor. Whatever the reformers are doing to keep it bob, you can bet your grandmom's teeth. There'll be some blade work needed before this job is done. Get yourself ready for a proper scrap convoy. Okay, no 10-minute cutscene. Alright. Then let's get ready for a proper scrap by practicing our dagger play high atop these boxes. Spin move. Now would be a good time to take a break.